Hello my friends. I have collected a great amount of information and statistics from various sources to create the biggest guide about the most useful legendary cards. I hope this information will help you make the right decision about where to invest your dust. I will be grateful if you like this video.
Great job! Here comes the boom!
The 20th position is held by Dr. Boom, Mad Genius. The new hero card from Boomsday is what Warrior needed to get back into viable territory. It adds a lot of late game tempo value to the Warrior class. 70% of all Warrior Matter decks use this card. On average, the win rate of all of these decks is 53%. The most popular archetypes are Control, Ot, Mech, and Recruit Warrior. 4.6% of all decks include Dr. Boom. Here is an example of a popular deck.
Lapdogs! All of you!
Edwin's place on this list fluctuates enormously with the matter, but he always manages to find a way to hang on in there. This time around it felt like he might actually vanish from the list entirely due to the popularity of Odd Rogue. Only 29% of all rogue decks use this card. As always though, it must be pointed out just how powerful Edwin is. In the right deck, he can simply solo games. Even a relatively small 4-4 or 6-6 Edwin on turn 3 can often win games. You can see it in Tempo, Kingsbane and in some versions of odd decks. On average, the win rate of all decks with Edwin is 52%.
This will be a massive killing!
In 18th places, Lord Godfrey, a strong removal card for slower warlocks. While 7 mana is quite a lot, in the late game he can often clear every minion, while leaving a 4/4 body on top of that. The card was an amazing craft until Cube Warlock got nerfed in the Witchwood. The card is still good, but since Control and Cube Warlocks are less popular right now, craft it only if you want to play one of them.
Play with fire, child.
Adonis, drawing 3 cards at the end of each turn, gives more aggressive mage decks the opportunity to extend into the late game and finish opponents with burn. This card is ideal for tempo and aggressive decks. Although Tempo Mage might seem like a narrow archetype for such a highly ranked card, there are multiple ways to build the deck, and it seems like these will only become more diverse as the year unfolds. Adonis' phenomenal arcane power is not a waste of your important arcane dust.
I am the essence of magic!
Mallegus has been a part of multiple combo decks over time. Right now it's played in Mallegus Druid and Mallegus Rogue decks. The popularity of this card is 5%. I'm pretty much sure that we will see it in the future too.
Victory for Gilneas!
At the moment, the best part about Greymane is the ability to never miss playing something on turn 1. In Paladin, and to a lesser extent Shaman, Gan is being used to help to fight for early board. The key is in the consistency. If your opponent fails to draw a 1-drop, then you are instantly in the lead. The most popular archetype for this card at the moment is Even Warlock. Either way, even decks are a big part of the matter right now with more than 5% popularity and with win rates over 55%.
Return to nothing.
The 14th position is held by Stargazer Luna, a good legendary in any mage deck running cheap cards. 1 card draw is enough to make it worth, and you can possibly chain 2 or 3 card draws later in the game. 56% of all mage decks use this card. The most popular archetypes are Tempo, Freeze, and Odd Mages. On average, the win rate of all decks with Luna is 52%.
My pack will hunt you down!
It took a while, but Hound Master Sha sees more mainstream play right now. The popularity of this card is 6%. It is on 0.6% higher than before the Boomsday release. The 3/6 body combined with a powerful effect makes it a solid play, as well as a good card to combo for a high tempo turn later into the game. It's strong card in Recruit and Death Rattle Hunter.
How unexpected.
Flobbed in a Sloop, a new druid card with 6% popularity. It has massive potential. Copying any card for full mana is pretty good already, but the fact that the copy doesn't even have to be played on the same turn makes it amazing. Works best with Miletus, but other decks have used it to copy Arcane Tyrant or Giggling Inventor too. 44% of all druid decks use this card.
I bring life and hope.
Alexstrasza has been a combo enabler since the early days of Hearthstone. 7% of all meta decks include her. The option to either burst down an opponent to set up a kill or dodge incoming lethal damage makes Alexstrasza a perennial powerhouse worthy of crafting. She's arguably the ultimate flexible legendary. Aleix is currently played in many different decks, most notably in Mallegus Druid, Big Spell Mage, and Control Priest.
More souls!
The 10th position is held by Blood Mage Thalnos. Thalnos has always been one of the most played legendaries in Hearthstone. The difficulty with conveying how good the card is lies in the fact that several other cards, such as Loot Order and Kobold Geomancer, appear to do similar jobs. Thalnos does the job of 2 cards in single convenient package. Neither aspect of the card is particularly powerful, but many decks can utilize both aspects, and this can amount to a substantial incremental advantage. Thalnos is best placed in combo decks, where he's used to find key pieces of the combo as quickly as possible. In the current meta, he's found in Mill Druid, Mechathon Priest, Tempo Mage, and Shadowwalk Shaman. Today, the win rate of all decks with this card is only 48% on average.
Suffer!
At number 9 is Blood River Gul'dan. He offers a massive board swing in any deck that runs a bunch of demons. The resurrection of several demons simultaneously generates an insane amount of value and pressure against your opponent. Also, the hero power lets you choose between finishing off enemy minions or simply sucking your opponent's face. This gives you a great advantage. 40% of all Warlock decks use this card. For today, Gul'dan can be played in any Warlock decks except Zoo. In 8th place is Solarium, the class legendary spell for Warlock. It used to be an auto-include in the Zoo decks at the start of the expansion, but right now, some builds play it and others don't. It's a good card that works really well in specific scenarios, but I wouldn't call it an auto-craft or auto-include. It should be a good craft if you want to play Zoo, but not an absolutely necessary card.
Easy target.
Deathstalker Exa is amazing because he gives you a nearly infinite value win condition, which is necessary in some matchups, especially after you run out of steam. The current beast pool is pretty strong, and some of the high roll combinations can simply win you the game. The Build a Beast effect got a substantial buff with the release of the Witchwood expansion, as rush is generally a terrific keyword to put on a beast, and lifesteal is often critical to buying enough time for future beasts to make a significant impact on the game. 83% of all hunter decks use this card. The average win rate of decks with this card is 55%.
Blight and rot.
Due to its flexibility, Malfurion the Pestilent offers a great deal of attack or defense. Depending on the matchup and the deck you put it into, you can either deal 3 damage per turn or gain 3 armor per turn. Either option is much better than any of the basic hero powers. 93% of all Druid meta decks use this card. So, if you like playing Druid, you'll find him irreplaceable in many archetypes. In 5th place is Zilliax. He has turned out to be the only staple neutral legendary from the Boomstay. His immediate board presence and healing makes it a mainstay in multiple decks running at least a few mechs. 12% of all decks include this card.
Slay them!
At 4th place is Baku the Moon Eater. Baku's upgraded hero power has found a home in some of the meta decks. Nearly all of the hero powers are incredible when upgraded, and so odd decks can be played in any class where the odd mana cards are strong enough to sustain the rest of the strategy. In the case of Rogue, Paladin, and Warrior, the upgraded hero power is desirable enough to build a deck around it, despite the handicap of losing half the card pool to pick from. Baku seems to fulfill all of the conditions of a great card to craft. It is neutral and likely to have additional support from future sets.
Time's up. Let's do this.
The 3rd position is held by what is effectively a neutral fireball for 5 mana, Leroy Jenkins. Leroy has been helping aggressive decks close out games since the beginning of Hearthstone. The massive charge damage will make this card a powerful finisher for a long time. In the past, the solution to not crafting Leroy was to replace him with Reckless Rocketeer. This was never an ideal solution, but one that could save a lot of dust. These days it makes even less sense because many decks that run Leroy also use Baku the Moon Eater, which means that you cannot play the Rocketeer at all.
Has come.
In 2nd place is the Lich King. Being a neutral card, he is playable in multiple deck archetypes. Even in some decks where he's not considered a staple, you can often throw him in as filler if you're missing a late game card. That makes him particularly useful for players with low amounts of dust to spend. More than 15% of decks include this card right now.
Truth is found in death.
And finally, the card in 1st place is Prince Callous Earth. Callous Earth is one of the most popular legendary cards in the game right now, being an auto-include in multiple mostly aggressive decks. Callous Earth is proving to be a resilient card and has the advantage of being able to be played across multiple classes. His primary home at the moment is in Zoo Warlock and Death Rattle Hunter. From a crafting perspective, a lot of the decks in which Callous Earth is played are cheap to make, and most are beginner friendly. From a power perspective, this is one of the highest win rate cards in the game when drawn in an opening hand. And full card list. This guide will not be complete without the most unique card in the game. Whizbang the Wonderful is probably the best legendary a new or casual player can get. It lets you experience 18 different decks, some of which are actually quite viable. You can find more information in a special video about Whizbang. You will find the link in the description.
Stand back and be amazed!
And some general information. Today, 89 legendary cards out of 146 are used in the metagame. 25 of them have less than 1% use in the metagame. Only 22 cards have more than 4% popularity. After the Boomstay release, the popularity and necessity of legendary cards in meta decks has increased by 2%, from 21 to 23. This means that the cost of some popular decks has increased. Let's look at the changes in the card list. All the legendary cards that were played before the Boomstay release continue to be played after the release, but these cards have lost some popularity in recent weeks. And these cards have increased in influence in the metagame. As you can see, the Frozen Throne set has the most powerful and necessary legendary cards for laddering. If you want to empower your collection with really strong legendary cards, you should buy it. And the set with the worst legendary cards is Amgoro. Today, you will not see legendary cards from it in the top 20. I don't recommend buying this set. The best solution is to craft the most necessary cards. As for the results of the vote from the last video, the question was, are you waiting for the new tournament mode? So, what do you think? Is Hearthstone the perfect game? I created a new YouTube poll. Find the button on the screen. Vote and tell me your answer in the comments. Here are the most popular comments from the last video. Thank you for your activity. And special thanks to my editor Chris.
Cleaning commences.
Perhaps you will find something interesting here.
Here are some suggestions.
Job's done.